Alright guys, let's talk about metrics now. So with our metrics chapter, remember what we had to do is we had to remember this chart, the chart that you see on your screen right now. It's a matter of getting that chart down. Remember we talked about that mnemonic device to remember this chart. Even though it was silly, it helped us to remember the first letter of each one of our prefixes on this chart here. And remember, as a reminder, that silly little mnemonic device was kiss, Harry, dogs, but, drink, chocolate, milk, and then we wrote out the word mom. So as if that's our little saying there. Kiss, Harry, dogs, but drink, chocolate, milk, mom. Just don't forget the M and the O in mom, or the first M and the O in mom, don't have any significance. Those are our two X's on our chart. So those are your prefixes. Remember your bases are here in the middle. Your bases standing for grams, meters, and liters. Again, depending on what we're measuring, all the different prefixes you can see with the little dashes next to them, those are what we put in front of these bases when we're changing the different sizes of them, which you guys don't really necessarily need to know. You just need to remember when we're converting, say, grams to kilograms or milligrams to micrograms, we have to remember where the location of those prefixes are on this chart here. So let's go through a couple examples here. So I'm just going to erase all of our letters, and I'm going to use the chart that's up there on the top as our map as we go through things. So given the example, let's say I'm asking, okay, if I have 4.5, let's say kilograms, and I'm going to abbreviate everything, guys. You all don't have to know the abbreviations. I'm going to write everything out. You all will eventually need to know these abbreviations, so I would get used to those. But for the first test, you guys don't have to know those. So 4.5 kilograms is equal to, I want to know what that is, and let's just say grams. Okay. So again, what we have, this is where we start. So using this chart up here at the top as a map, this is where we're starting on our map. So with 4.5 kilograms, again, that grams has the prefix kilo in front, so we're starting at that spot on our map up there at the top. We're ending, or what we're trying to convert to, is where we end on our map. So we're trying to convert to the unit gram. Gram, remember guys, is one of our bases, so therefore we're going from this location to this location on our map. So which direction did we just go on our map? Well, we went to the right. We went from kilo to base, so we went to the right. What we then need to do is we need to count how many places we moved to the right. So going from kilo to base, we went 1, 2, 3 places to the right to get to our base. So therefore, we must do the exact same thing with our decimal. So taking a look right now at what we have, again, our 4.5, and moving it the same number of places that we did on our map, moving our decimal, I'm sorry, we take it 1, would put it behind the 5, 2 puts it behind a 0, which we're going to have to add, 3 places would put it behind another 0. So what has to happen with these empty spots? We have to fill in those spots with zeros, and again, what that signifies here is that this decimal is no longer here. We have moved it down here. And remember, when a decimal goes to the end of our number, that simply just turns it into a whole number. And that whole number is 4,500. I'm so sorry. 4,500. And that's our answer. Let's look at another one. Okay, so let me erase all this fun stuff up here. All right, let's say we have, 25 milligrams. And I use grams a lot just because that's so common in the healthcare field, milligrams to grams. So in this case, using our map up there at the top, again, our starting point is what we have. So we're starting here at the prefix milli on our map. I'm trying to, again, convert this to grams, so once again, we're going to our base. This time on our map, we moved to the left to go from milli to base. We again need to count our movements, so we moved 1, 2, 3 places to the left. So we do the exact same thing with our decimal. Now 25 being a whole number, don't forget when we start our whole numbers, our decimal starts back here at the far right. That's where our decimal is in the number 25. Thinking again in terms of money, if I had $25, that's the same thing as $25.00. What is actually back here, there are some some invisible zeros back here, but those are irrelevant. We don't have to really use those, so let's forget about those for right now. So we start with that decimal there at the far right, right behind the 5. And just like our map told us, we need to move that 3 places to the left. So doing just that, we go 1, 2, 3, and here in another instance, we're going to have to go ahead and draw in another 0 because I've got this empty space right here. So what happens once again, this decimal is no longer here, we've moved it to here. We fill in our little empty spot with a 0 here, and my answer is 0.025. Don't forget, when our decimal now ends up in the front, we want to get in the habit of adding that 0 in the front of our answer. So this is what I want to see as your answer, guys. 0.025 is what I'm looking for. That decimal needs to be right here in my answer. So 25 milligrams is the same thing as 0.025 grams. Okay, let's just take a look at another one. All right, don't forget what those X's mean over there on the far right of our map between milli and micro. Those represent something, and thinking back to our place values, okay, just like it says in our book, you can find the same chart in your book. Deci meant 1/10, milli means 1/100th. Oh, I'm sorry. Centi means 1/100th, milli means 1/1000th, and micro meant 1/1,000,000th of our base. So therefore what happened was we skipped 2 very important place values, the 1/10,000th and the 1/100,000th. So that's what those place values represent. There just aren't prefixes for those 2 place values, but they need to be there to represent that decimal movement. So that being said, let's look at a sample problem with that. Let's say we have 450 micrograms, using the abbreviation for micro, and I want to know what that is in milligrams. So on my map, again, my starting place is what we have, so I'm starting at the prefix micro. This time I'm trying to convert to milligrams, so here is my prefix milli. So going from micro to milli, once again, we've moved to the left, and I need to, just like we saw before, I'm going to move 1, 2, 3 places to the left. That's what those X's are there for. They serve that purpose to show that decimal movement. So in this case, it is 3 places to the left. So with 450, once again, just like on our last example, because it's a whole number, the decimal starts right there behind the 0, to the right of the 0. And just like we did on my map, I'm going to move it 3 places to the left. So 1 would put it behind the 5, 2 places behind the 4, and 3 places would put it in front of the 4. Remember, to show me on your answer, this decimal we know is no longer here, we've moved it to right here. Now guys, what that does is that makes my answer, don't forget to put that 0 in the front there, 0.45. And what we've done is we can drop this 0. Once our decimal has ended up, in the front, when we have zeros trailing at the very far right of a decimal, we can drop those because they're unimportant now. We don't really need those. Remember, I told you guys earlier, if I have, and just kind of giving you an example, if I had $5, that's the same thing as $5.00. Those zeros aren't really necessary because they're to the right of the 0. They trail. They're the trailing zeros. So those are unnecessary now. So again, that makes my answer 0.45 for this problem that we just did. 450 micrograms is 0.45 milligrams. All right, guys, I hope that helps give you guys a little reminder on your metrics. Don't forget, we will review before the test. If you guys have any questions, you all know, feel free to call me anytime. Your best bet is going to be to email me because I can email you from my cell phone. Hope you guys have a great weekend.